first week of October 2023. In case you're watching this in the future and you're time traveling back to this time period, we have two franchises returning, one to theaters and one to streaming. One wasn't that good, one maybe good. Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn Confessional, and this is Dave from Nerdbox, and I'm accompanied by my wife Jen, also from Nerdbox. And on this episode, we are talking about Pet Sematary, Bloodlines. So fire up that Jiffy Pop and meet us in the booth.
In 1969, a young Judd Crandall has dreams of leaving his hometown of Ludlow, Maine behind, but soon discovers sinister secrets buried within and is forced to confront a dark family history that will forever keep him connected to Ludlow. Banding together, Judd and his childhood friends must fight an ancient evil that has gripped Ludlow since its founding, and once unearthed, has the power to destroy everything in its path.
Before we dive into this is a prequel to the 2019 Pet Sematary and not the 1989 Pet Sematary.
Yes, that's a little disappointing. I was kind of hoping it was going to be the prequel to the 1989, and I almost feel like that would have fit better. I think the kid who plays young Judd reminds me more of that Judd from 89 than he does John Lithgow.
Yeah, Jackson White has a similar look to Fred Gwynn, and we're getting the story of what Judd in that Pet Sematary told, and that is about the Baterman family. Timmy Baterman returning home from war. In this version of the movie, it's from Vietnam instead of World War II, and he's struggling with PTSD, and he takes his own life.
And then his dad buries him in sour ground. Because we all know, I mean, this is what happens, right?
We do dive into the lore of Ludlow, and we get some explanations about what was happening there. So we get to see why the ground turned sour. And then we get to see the almost like Nightmare on Elm Street type, where the parents know that something's going on, and it's their duty to make sure that the evil does not return. All the elders that live there now, the parents of the teenagers, we're following essentially the Nightmare on Elm Street formula here. Or it's like, hey, this happened, let's keep it a secret, or keep them watch. If something happens, we're on top of it. And unfortunately, Timmy Baterman's father, Bill, played by David Duchovny, he knows this, but he breaks the rules. And that sets off a chain of supernatural events.
Always has to be one, right?
Now, out of all the films that we have, so we have the original, we have the prequel. I don't remember the part 2 that much. We have to go and watch that this month. And this one, I thought David Duchovny was the best grieving parent of all the films.
Yeah, I did too. I really liked him. I mean, David Duchovny's a good actor, you know, and I was actually shocked to see his name kind of tied to this movie, just because it is like just a straight to streaming movie. I mean, I know he did a lot of TV, obviously, but you know, he's a big name. He's been around for a long time, you know, and there's others too. Henry Thomas, Samantha Mathis, big names.
This film kind of lacks the creepiness of the original film, and even the reboot. It's not as like, oh, I got a little chill running down my spine with the way somebody's talking or the way a story is told, or with even like Gage coming back.
Yeah.
Or even Ellie coming back in the reboot as well. It's like they were very creepy characters. Now, Timmy Baterman, he was good. He was more zombie-like. The performance was very good. It just wasn't creepy.
I like the way that he delivered, though, when he would just like randomly show up and he would just start talking about things that no one seemed to understand. He was creepy. He was good.
I felt like we started getting some explanations on some things that like they put the bait on the hook a little bit, and then they kind of backed off a little bit. And the film is like an hour and 25 minutes if you count the credits.
Yeah.
I think they could have delved into that a little bit more. It's not one that's going to be filled with a lot of the typical paranormal elements, which we'll talk about in a second. But it was a good story. Could have done a little bit better. Not as creepy, but it was a good story.
Yeah, I think it could have been a little bit longer just so we could have gotten some more information.
Now Judd in this, he's not hooked in like he was in the other movies. He's looking to escape Ludlow, and his father's just saying like, yeah, go. Don't worry about us. Just go ahead, start your life, do your own thing, spread your wings and fly. And unfortunately, Judd is forced into having to stay in Ludlow when he's trying to escape for reasons we're not going to talk about. And we see how the torch is passed in the film. So, for a prequel, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those paranormal tropes and see if the boxes are checked off. Creepy entity. I guess you can look at Timmy Baterman being that entity. He's not really a ghost. He's a zombie.
Well, he's the undead. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they do.
Creepy entity?
No.
No, not a check for me either. Harbinger of Doom.
Yeah.
I am not going to give this one a check just because it's not as creepy as Judd in the original two movies. And then do we have ghost bait? So essentially in a film, we always have that one person that is possessed or something bad happens to them, and that's what brings our protagonist, the survivor, into the front of the film. And this really didn't have ghost bait.
I feel like the whole town was ghost bait, right? I mean, it could have happened to anybody based on what they do. So
Yeah, so not like we see in a normal film. So I would say, do you check? No check?
nah, I wouldn't check it.
Yeah, I wouldn't check it either. But we do have a survivor, which is Judd. I thought, yeah, I checked the box. I think he was pretty good. He rises to the occasion. I like the character.
Yeah, that's a check.
There is the skeptic. Every paranormal movie has to have the skeptic that doesn't believe in the beginning and then slowly comes to, to believe. There wasn't any skeptics in this.
No, I wouldn't say that anybody is a skeptic. I think it's a small town and everyone knows, even the kids who don't know what was going on, they know something's weird about the town.
Curse things?
Obviously.
Yes, definitely a check. Not as much as the previous two films, but it is in there.
Mostly because you have the kind of the Indian aspect to it. So the one family is an Indian family, so the sister is really like into that, like doing the dances and like the masks and stuff.
I did not fear the Pet Sematary like it was done in the previous films. I think they focused more on the other two films. They go into the lore, but they don't really add anything more to it.
Yeah, and like the few times that they showed the actual cemetery, like when someone was there, it was like sunshine. I feel like it takes away like from the creep factor when it's like, blue skies and sun like beating down on you and you're like, isn't this creepy?
We start the movie there and it sets the tone and then it goes downhill from there. Creepy children or animals?
Animals.
Yes, that's a check for me as well. And then apparitions and shadows, those jump scares that sometimes come with the loud noises, or the ones that are done really well where it builds up that tension and then shocks you. No jump scares.
No
apparitions, nothing hiding in the shadows really.
Just that Timmy Baterman that kept showing up out of nowhere.
So what do you rate this one?
It's a one and done for me. I'm okay, so I'm glad I got a little bit of the backstory for Judd, see how he got started or mixed into all this, but I don't need to go back to it.
Yep. I am a one and done on this one too. I'm glad I watched the story. I'm glad it didn't delve into what our theory was a few years back. So maybe we'll have a popcorn theory about Judd being Harbinger of Doom, the actual evil entity itself. But before we go, just want to say thank you for tuning in for this episode. We appreciate you. We appreciate you for tuning in to all of our shows. So go and check out everything that is coming out for 31 Days of Halloween. There's a video probably dropping just about every single day, a little bit differently from last year. And we're part of something special, all because of you. And now you get to take advantage of that.
These are the times that try men's souls.
Police believe that O.J. Simpson is in that car.
Any requests?
Oh, hi there, fright fiends.
There's one near you.
Can you explain what internet is?
The In the Search of Darkness 80s trilogy is complete. But as we all know, horror never dies. The early 90s represented an exciting, challenging, and evolutionary period for horror filmmaking.
Showtime!
In Search of Darkness, 1990 to 1994, we'll dive into this era and analysis, deconstruct, recontextualize, and reframe this decade in horror.
Through Nerdbox, through the end of 31 Days of Halloween, you will get 10% off of 3 packages by clicking on the link that is in the description. A digital copy, which includes your name in the credits, a copy of the film, and the soundtrack, plus a booklet. Then there is the standard Blu-ray box set, which adds to everything that we talked about with the digital copies, and you get the Blu-ray, 2 posters, a commemorative booklet, and a few more perks. And then finally, the deluxe box set adds a t-shirt.
Come get some.
Anyway, don't forget to...
Like, comment, share, and subscribe because it does help.
Yes. And until the next.
Happy Halloween.
See ya.